You are now listening to About That Business, hosted by Rom Wills. Rom Wills is an entrepreneur and personal coach who has helped people reach their fullest potential personally and professionally. Take it away, Rom.
Welcome to the Sunday morning simulcast with Rom Wills. There's always a choice. I'm going to tell you what. Everything in life is a choice. When people say they did something because they can't help it, really, that's some bull. It's some bull. And I know it seemed tough. It can even seem harsh to say that with people going through stuff. But I'm going to tell you what. A single choice can change your life. A single moment can change your life. A single moment, I did a podcast about one day you'll get tired. That moment you get tired, you make a choice to go in a different direction. You just say, you know what, I'm going to choose to go in a different direction. Everything is a choice, because even when stuff is done to you, even when stuff has happened, you choose how you're going to respond to it. Someone could put a gun to your head and say, if you don't do this, that, and a third, I'm going to kill you. And people will say, well, I was coerced, but you still made a choice. It seems harsh to say that, but you made a choice at that moment. You chose life. So you say you'll go ahead and do it. But somebody else could say, you know what, you just got to shoot me. I ain't going to do that. All right? And, there are occasions. If someone wants to violate you sexually, trust me, you be thinking, it's you know what? That'd be a fate worse than death. So I'm going to choose to fight this person. But it's still a choice. That's an extreme example. But every day, we going through some stuff. We making a choice whether or not how we going to respond to it, whether or not to go through it. You're in a bad relationship. You choosing to stay there. Or you know what? You don't even have to choose to stay. Or you could choose to leave, or you could choose to say, you know what? We're going to work this out. In fact, you got a lot of choices. When somebody says, when somebody come up to you and says something rude to you, you could choose to curse them out, or you could choose to go about your business and ignore them, or, you could choose a lot of stuff. You could, if depending on where they at, if they rude to you on the job, you can choose to go talk to their manager. But every single thing is a choice. Me making this podcast at the time that I did was a choice. I could have did it later, could have did it last week. I don't have to do it. I could choose to say, you know what, I'm getting kind of bored of it. I'm just going to rest on Sundays, right? I can choose it. I could choose to get rid of this YouTube channel, all of my YouTube channels. Cut off all my social media and everything. I could go choose to live in the woods or something. I could go choose to get a 9-to-9 job because, I'm going to work more than 60 weeks. Too talented. It's always a choice. It's a choice how you respond to stuff. Somebody could, using a relationship example, since everybody always know them, you can, one day, right? On one day, you can always, somebody could break up from you. You can choose to wallow in self-pity and all of that, or you could choose to write a book about it and become a millionaire. You can choose to move on, right? If you're on a job, people will say, well, I'm forced to work on this job. No, you're not. You're choosing to work on that job. All right? You can choose how you're going to respond to everything. Now, let me use a job example. Now, somebody say they forced to be on a job. No, you're not in an act of slavery. You can choose not to be on it. You could get another job. And see, here's the deep thing. All right, you want a job, right? You can't stand it. People get on your nerves. You're not making enough money. It could be 1,000 things. You can choose to leave that job. You could just be bold and just leave it right then on the spot. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to leave this job, but I'm going to be smart about it. I'm going to put away some money. I'm going to quietly look for something else. But the thing is, it's a choice. See, one thing, regardless of how you worship God, regardless, I don't care what name that you have for God or the supreme force, or if you choose not to worship any deity at all of that is a choice. That's the one thing. No deity forces you to do anything. Now, you can make an argument that the clergy who claim to represent those deities are trying to force you, or they trying to coerce you. But at the end of the day, you can't find any doctrine where God says he forced you because, or whatever name you want to use for deity. Even then, you get a free choice, free will. You got to choose it, right? You got to accept it. For those who saw that classic movie, The Matrix, and, the less than enthusiastically received sequels, that's one thing the architect said, pointed out to Neo. Neo realized it's all about choice. People had to accept the Matrix. If you don't like the political system we're in or the social system, you don't have to accept it. You can choose to make changes. But it's always a choice. It's always a choice. There's problems when people try to force something, but even then, you making a choice then. I don't care what the situation is, you choosing how you're going to respond to it. Now, of course, somebody's going to coerce you. Somebody's going to hold a gun to you. They're going to threaten you, probably try to shame you and all of that. But at the end of the day, the power is within you. Now, why would I talk about choice? People have to realize you always have something. You can choose how you're going to respond. There's people out here who have physical handicaps, physical disabilities. They might not have legs, arms. I've seen some people with some stuff like, people really need to be thankful if they have all their digits, they can walk. You got some people out here, they don't have any of that, yet they gone on and do what they have to do because they made a choice not to wallow in pity. They made a choice to go forward. And that's the greatest power that anyone has, no matter what. No matter what, that's the greatest power. You can choose, if you're going through some bull now, you can choose to do something else. If you like wallowing in poverty, you can say to yourself, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to choose to move forward. I'm going to choose to get out of this. I'm going to choose to educate myself, do what I have to do. And there's ways of doing it. There are ways of doing it. No one's ever stuck. Look, especially with anything created by man, if you in any situation that was created by the mechanizations of a human being, that means you can get out of it. All right? And even man-made stuff, you can lose everything in a tornado or a fire. You could choose to go forward. When I was a freshman in college, the building I lived in, the apartment building I lived in, burned down to the ground. I walked out of there with a pair of pajamas. I ain't even have shoes on. I was in my bare feet. I think I had to walk up to campus or something in my bare feet. Just to, find somebody who was kind enough to let me use their shoes and give me some clothes just so I could go home, back home to get some other stuff. I could have chose to be like, oh, I lost all that stuff and stuff that was important for me. But I didn't. I made a choice like, okay, I lost it. I can get it all back. Because really, the only thing I lost, I remember that. The only thing I lost I couldn't get back was a yearbook where all these, people signed, high school yearbook. I couldn't get those signatures back, but if you think about it, just by making a choice not to even dwell on that, I have friends going back to high school, like even to this day. Coming upon almost nearly 40 years later. That's powerful. That's powerful because I don't care what goes on. You have a choice on how you want to respond to it. You have a choice on how you want to deal with it. All right? You always have a choice, no matter who you are. If you can think, you have a choice. And you could choose to walk the golden path. And you can choose to elevate, or you can choose to stay where you are, but you're still making a choice. Nobody's forcing you. Nobody's holding a gun to your head. They trying to coerce you, but at the end of the day, you have the power inside. You have the power. All right? So always remember that. Choose. 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 So I want everyone to have a peaceful day. Keep rising and transforming.
you.